So this has been a really interesting practice for me. I just really love what Bill and Susan suggested in making every transaction into a connection and really increasing my awareness of opportunities to connect with people as I'm out and about. And I have to share this story. I don't have to, but I really want to. Um, I was at Chuck E. Cheese with my cousin who's my age and my grandniece, her granddaughter who's 5. And if you're not familiar with Chuck E. Cheese, good for you. It's this kids' place, like elementary school age kids and younger. And it's a huge room with all these arcade games, skee ball and basketball and soccer kicks and racing. Anyway, all this stuff. And there's a young man who's checking in people, and they put a stamp on your hand to help you know which kid is which with what adult. And not the job I'm sure anybody starts out saying, I really want to make this my life's work. you know um, and at one point my cousin and I were trying to figure out the ingredients in a thing called Dippin' Dots that my grandniece wanted, and it's like this super cooled ice cream that comes in little pellets. But we wanted to know what was in it because she has allergies, and we're looking over this box that it comes in, can't find anything, asking people they don't know. And this sweet young man takes the time to find out in the tiniest print at the bottom of this machine with the Dippin' Dots in it what the ingredients are. And no matter how close I got, I couldn't read it. And bless his heart, he was able to read all the stuff that someone might be allergic to. And I really thanked him, and we joked about needing a magnifying glass. And we had this lovely connection. And he was beaming at getting validated for going above and beyond the call of duty. And it just brought up this warmth of heart and this joy and this being at peace with the whole world in that moment. And, so that practice brings joy and delight and engagement. And that's certainly consistent with this quote from commentaries on the suttas. People who develop the habit of being generous reap many rewards. Their act of generosity comes back to them both in the present and on into the future. They have lots of friends. Other people trust them. Their hearts are light. They aren't weighed down with worries about looking after the things they've given away. And it goes on and on effusively. However, I've also been aware of another side to the practice, increasingly aware of times when I'm stingy with what I have, whether it's material things, money, my heart, my time, my interest, my presence. And the practice, at least my practice, not only shows the gains, the sweetness, the joy of the practice, but also I experience and become more aware of the dukkha involved in the practice, the hindrances, the challenges, the difficult feelings that may arise. And this is what resonated me with this story I found, the Ankura Sutta. And this is about a merchant who in his travels encounters a ghost. And as an aside, and as Bill recently said, there certainly is a mythology or cosmology in certain branches of Buddhism that we don't talk much about in our morning sits. And individuals can interpret these stories as concretely, as metaphorically, as you want, or not at all, whatever fits for you. But I find them really interesting teaching and instructional metaphorical stories. Anyway, this sutta is talking about a merchant who encounters a ghost. This is a person who's been reborn in the ghostly realm. And the merchant is amazed at the beauty of this ghost's hands. And he says, your hands are beautiful, golden hands with juices streaming out of, your fingertips. And of course, being curious, how did this come to be? What deeds did you do that allowed you to have this beneficial karma? And he says, you must be the king of the gods. And ghost says, no, I'm just a regular person. And I was reborn into the ghost realm. And so Ankura asks him, again, what good deed did you do to have these wonderful hands? And I'm amazed as I've looked into the suttas, this is such a common theme of a human being or a disciple of the Buddha asking these glorious beings, what did you do to get to this place? So not much has changed in 2,600 years. We want instructions. We want a roadmap. What do I got to do to get to where you're at? That's normal human curiosity. We want to know the right path to take. So Ankura asks, what did you do while you were a human being to get these wonderful hands? And the ghost explains that he was a tailor. And he really, didn't have an easy life and didn't have anything that he could give away generously, but he lived close by. His workshop was close by the home of this wealthy man who was a disciple of a Buddha who was very generous. And people would come from all over to receive his generosity, and beggars would stop at his shop and ask him directions to the home of this wealthy person. And he would point with his right hand and say, blessings to you. You should follow this direction. There is where the alms and the gifts are given out. And for that reason, he says, now my hand is golden and flows with sweet juices. So Ankura is really taken with this story. And that even pointing out, giving directions where generosity can be received is such a blessing that you receive rewards like these beautiful hands. So he says, well, as soon as I get home, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, give gifts, and I'm going to build roads, and I'm going to build watering places, and I'm going to, I'm going to do it all if, what you did, leads to these great rewards. However, that's not the end of the story. While this discussion is taking place, the merchant also sees another ghost. And this ghost is described as having fingers that are crooked, and his face is disfigured and ugly, and there are tears oozing from his eyes. And so Ankura asks, what bad karma did you do for this to happen? And this ghost replies, well, now that you know the story about the generous man, the one who was a disciple of the Buddha, I was the person he put in charge of gifts in his house. But when I saw the beggars who had come asking for food, I didn't like to look at them. So I would purposely turn my face away from them with anger. For that reason, my fingers and face are now deformed, and tears are oozing from my eyes. That was the evil deed that I committed. So that's a pretty powerful story, even looking away, not refusing to give the gifts, but just looking away from pain and suffering results in these negative consequences, this painful karma. And so, of course, Ankura is even more committed to doing good deeds when he gets home. So, to me, being aware of my stinginess and not looking away from it, seeing it, noticing it, as Susan would say, paying attention, making much of that. I'm seeing it. I'm being mindful of this. This is the fruit of the practice as well. It doesn't feel pleasant to see that in myself, but it's really important for me to understand the aversion of that as it arises. I was aware through the end of the year and into the new year, it seemed like there's a lot more mailings and emails from charities, and some I've already donated to give more. And at times for me, that becomes distressing. I want to look away. I want to look away, thinking, is there no end to this? Why do you keep asking me to give more? Haven't I given enough? And as I would get this mail or these emails would pop up, I became aware of this pushing away, the opposite of generosity, the shutting down and the constricting of my heart, and how painful that felt, the numbing out, the anger, the resentment, the guilt. Should I be giving more? And wanting to push that all away rather than just acknowledging there's so much need in the world. They keep asking because the need doesn't go away. And to be open to holding my limitations humbly and compassionately. I can't fix it all. Really acknowledging the need to hold myself and the pain in the world with compassion. I can't cure all the ills of the world. I certainly don't have the resources to do that. And in the suttas, it also states that generosity needs to be practiced with limits. The limits of not doing harm to myself or to others. And also realizing how vast the need is, how distressing it can be to see that need. And also the commercials that come up on TV or my computer or my phone showing images of people and children suffering all over the world from devastating medical conditions, from war and violence, and even animals who've been abused and neglected. Just noticing how painful it is to see those images and noticing how I can veer towards aversion when those pop up. And in practicing generosity, I can compassionately hold these difficult feelings and know my limits, both materially and emotionally, and practice generously staying open-hearted to myself and others, even in the face of the pains of the world. So reaping the benefits of joy when I can give a kind word, a smile, a compliment. Also the benefits of generosity, holding steady when I can hold the reality of pain and suffering. This isn't easy. That's why we need to keep tenderizing and tending to our holding environment and our practice so that we can look and see the world as it is, as painful as it is, and as beautiful and joyful as it is. So thank you for your kind attention, and let's practice holding all of the mess, all of the glorious mess, as I like to think of it. So let's tend to our bodies. Oh, generously stretching or moving, whatever tenderizes what may have gotten a bit stiff, what may feel a bit neglected, what's a bit cranky or tired, what movement or shifting or tenderizing and softening might be useful. in this moment to our dear bodies who hold so much for us. The face muscles that show so much of who we are and share that with the world so generously. Any loosening and softening over the forehead, jaws, neck, taking whatever time might be beneficial for you to care for this body breathing organism. As you begin to settle, body, mind, heart, inviting the busyness of mind in for a landing, a rest from its job of thinking, planning, organizing, strategizing, all the things it's meant to do, but just not for this moment. Allowing the breathing to create the space and the release for just being in these moments with calm and stillness. Gathering whatever kindness, generosity, compassion can bring warmth and comfort to caring, interested attention. Each breath a gift, generously given and generously received. Each breath refreshing and comforting our inner space so it can hold whatever arises. Just feeling into the generosity of accepting the world just as it is, of accepting and holding ourselves just as we are. And perhaps in the last several minutes of this practice, opening up our awareness to all of us sitting here, together alone, generously sharing a space for holding all of what the world and our lives bring us, holding ourselves and each other and all beings with delight and love and joy, and struggle and difficulty. With kindliness and compassion.